What's going on, guys? It's KY, not Kai the Creative. And if you guys have followed me from any other form of social media or even on this channel, you know that I predominantly do fitness videos. I work with influencers, brands, and things like that, creating hype videos or product videos or educational things. But today we're going to talk about how to make epic fitness B-roll and some of the rules that I use when I'm shooting those type of things. Now, I've been doing it for a pretty long time. It's been about 3 years and hundreds of videos under my belt. I wanted to give the best information that I can for you guys that's easy to digest and something you can start doing as soon as tomorrow. The first thing is location. Location is everything when you're picking what videos you want to shoot in anything, not just in fitness. And there's so many locations that get ruined by either bad lighting or the color temperature isn't great, or there's way too many people in the gym and it throws you off in what you're watching. But picking the right location makes a lot of sense, especially if you want to have a good looking video. Things that I look for is how many people are at the gym at the particular time that I'm going to be shooting at, and where can I find natural light. Natural light looks really good on skin tones because it's what we normally see on a day-to-day basis. We don't necessarily look at things with the green or yellow tinted LED lights that you might have at like a work or a Walmart or like a commercial gym. So trying to find places with natural light and putting your subjects in your natural light helps out a lot when you want to have good looking videos. Number 2, ditch the gimbal, shoot handheld. The reason why I like shooting handheld is you get a lot of control over how you're going to move the camera. When I'm shooting on a gimbal and I have something like fitness where there's a lot of movement, it's a lot of action, and you gotta move around quite a bit, I find it hard for me particularly to use a gimbal and to start flying that around. It's a very robotic or sterile motion. There's not a lot of character to how I'm moving the camera. And it works really well if you're doing things like product shots or maybe doing something for an app or something that's purely educational, but for the fitness hype style of video, I never shoot with a gimbal. I'll always use handheld because I have a little bit more creative control and it helps convey a little bit of emotion. Also, it's easier to follow movements as you're shooting. All right, I have to apparently change the SD card here. The next thing is how many movements or exercises does a person or a talent need to have to make a complete video, or enough to have enough footage that you can edit it later. I aim anywhere between 5 and 8 movements. And the reason why is because I'm probably gonna pick up 3 to 4 angles of each shot. So if I have 6 exercises with 4 angles or shots a piece, I'm gonna have 24 different clips that I can cut together for that B-roll. Now, if you're making a video that's gonna be about 30 to 40 seconds, that's a big chunk of that video where you can use other things like establishing the scene, hero shots, and things like that. You can use a big chunk of that video for action shots. So just making sure that you have enough. And normally I would go anywhere between that 6 to 8 mark, and I make sure I get 3 to 4 angles of each one. And that helps me out my edit later on to make sure that I have enough footage. And just to piggyback off of that, make sure the person that you're shooting actually does the exercises that you have them shooting. If you're gonna get somebody that might be a power lifter and they're doing calisthenic workouts, it's gonna look awkward on camera. They're going to look like they haven't done that before, and it's going to not sell the intensity or the emotion that you're trying to convey a lot of the times. Getting people into their comfort zone in terms of like exercise they feel comfortable with not only mean that they're also going to do it and be able to direct a little bit better, but it also means that you're not A, gonna injure the person, and B, they're not gonna feel like they don't know what they're doing for a few hours while you're shooting things. Now, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is the type of lenses that you're going to use to shoot these videos. I almost never use wide angle lenses, so very rarely will you ever see me with a 16 to 35 or a 24 millimeter or even the 20 millimeter that I'm shooting this video on right now. I'm the type of person that I will use something like a 35 or a 50 millimeter for the majority of the type of work, especially in this capacity. The reason why is a lot of these videos are character driven. They're actually focusing on the person that's there. I don't necessarily need a wide shot all the time to go establish a scene, because a lot of times if it's something that like a workout video or a hype video or a fitness video, you already know where they are. You already know they're at the gym. You're gonna figure that out based on the things that they're doing. So I won't use a wide angle lens to go and establish that. I won't use a wide shot to establish that. I'll focus more on the person that I'm actually shooting. That being said, a lot of times if you're shooting in a gym, you don't have the entire space to yourself. So getting something like a wide shot and having a bunch of people around, if that doesn't add to your story, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit, because now you see a bunch of people around, you're not sure who to focus on right at the beginning. So I use anywhere between a 35, a 50 millimeter, and then sometimes I'll use an 85 millimeter for the shots I want to get for these types of videos. The next thing I want to talk about is camera movement. So camera movements, keep them simple. There's only about 2 to 4 motions that I'll use when I'm moving my camera around handheld, and that's push ins, push outs. Maybe I'll do something like a side to side or like a side rotational shot or something like that. We're just moving from left to right. And those are pretty much the 3 movements that I will use. So I'll use different variations of those 3, and I keep the movements simple, and I commit to one when I'm shooting. So if I'm shooting a particular shot of someone doing like a cable row or something like that, I'll commit to either keeping it stationary, following the movement, push in, push out, or if I want to reveal something from side to side. Those are the only choices I'm going to end up using. And the reason why you want to keep the movement simple is because the videos are very, very quick. You don't want to get overcomplicated with these things, especially because you'll end up finding out when you're in the edit that you actually don't use a lot of the shots that you wanted to get super interesting and fancy on. So a particular shot that you want to get, make sure that it's planned out well in advance. Don't make that decision on the day. So if you're making a kind of a cheat sheet of how you want to shoot these videos, and maybe you're pressed for time, and maybe you're stuck and you don't know what you want to do, but you want to have an interesting shot, just stick to your basics. Stick to your basic push-ins, your push-outs, and just following the motion that happens, and it can go a long way. And the last thing I'm going to say is hold your shots. Don't press the off button on the record right after the last rep of the exercise that you are filming. Stay around a little bit. You might get some more emotion. You might get some more reaction stuff that you could plug into the video as transitional periods between exercise to exercise, or just to bridge certain gaps. I made that mistake when I first started. The second somebody was done doing a set of something, I immediately turned record off. And when I got to the edit, it was just a bunch of exercises with no transitions. There was no emotion. There was no reactions to what was going on. And I found myself at a loss because I didn't have the shots that I needed. I only focused on the exact action shots, and that's all I got. And you can't make a nice cohesive video with doing that. It becomes a little bit more difficult. So hold your shots. If you have to count to 10 seconds while you're shooting after somebody's done an exercise, so be it. Make sure you get as much footage as you can per clip, because it's going to help you out in the end. You'd be so surprised by how many cuts and how much footage actually goes into these things, and how useful it is to make sure you have a couple extra seconds of footage that you can help bridge gaps together and make videos look better overall. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. I want to make a quick video on how I shoot those type of videos, because a lot of you guys have come to this channel from my Instagram where you can see those things. So if you are not following me on Instagram, you can. It's like right over there or somewhere. I'll put it somewhere on the screen for you guys to go and do that. And keep asking these questions. Keep asking what you want to see more from me, because I like making videos that provide value for you guys to be able to watch. So if you do have any questions or anything you'd like to know, particularly from me, I'm going to try to come up with as many videos I possibly can answering those questions. This is KY, not Kai the Creative, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.